for the resistance against the Israeli occupation. So resistance is a reaction, and in the case of the Lebanese state not being able to protect the territories and the civilians. Faith that we have to liberate the territory, and the territory which extends to occupied Palestine, because this occupation is an aggression and it's an injustice against us and our brothers, and we must confront this aggression and liberate the territories. And the second consideration is national. The national consideration is that our land is under occupation, and this occupied territory is an inseparable part of the occupation that exists in occupied Palestine, meaning Israel is expansionist and it doesn't stop there in occupied Palestine. It wants to seize control of Lebanon as well. So we have two considerations, a faith-based consideration and a national consideration. Now, with all the Lebanese, we are with them in the national consideration, and we are unique in the faith-based consideration, but actually we have these two considerations as resistance. Usually the resistances throughout the world, take a look at them. What is it that they achieve? During the journey of any resistance in the world, they make some small achievements. They strike a group here. They liberate a small piece of land and then they leave it. And hence the achievements are small. They accumulate as time passes, and then the big liberation happens. What is unique about the resistance in Lebanon is that it started with great and big, impactful achievements. In 1985, it forced Israel to withdraw to the border. In 2000, it forced Israel to withdraw from Lebanon except for the Shubha farms and the Kfar Shuba hills. In 2006, it was able to prevent Israel from entering into Lebanon or from renewing its occupation. In the confrontation of the strong, it stopped Israel at the border at very, very small distances, and Israel wasn't able to reach the Litani River, nor was it able to reach Beirut, nor was it able to achieve the goals which it wanted. These are very great achievements for the resistance over the course of 40 years. These are promising achievements that show that what the resistance accomplished in Lebanon, all the different groups, Hezbollah, the Amal movement, the parties, the different factions that fought, in addition to the Lebanese army, in addition to the jihadi, good-hearted, sacrificing people who confronted with their naked bodies. These people achieved a repeated liberation and expelled the occupation, and this occupation would not have left were it not for this resistance. So the achievements were very significant and promising. It cannot be said to the resistance that you paid a lot and many buildings were demolished and you had many martyrs. What should be said to the resistance is, how is it that this resistance, with this major large-scale attack, Israeli, American, international, and with all of these major powers who stood with the Israeli enemy, how is it that this resistance was able to stop them at the southern border? And how were the youth able to fight with steadfastness in a legendary way, and the Lebanese people and the supporters of resistance and the army and everyone came together to prevent the Israelis from achieving their goal? This is the achievement. It should not be said to those subject to the aggression, why is it that they launch aggression? Do they ask us when they want to launch an aggression? It is said to those who are subject to the aggression, did you persevere or not? Did you surrender or not? Were you up to the responsibility or not? Yes, the resistance was up to the responsibility. And it set a legendary example, which the whole world talks about, east, west, north and south. And so nobody should say to us, look at the losses. We say, look at the aggression and the scale of the aggression, and so look at the results. What are the results? Israel wasn't able to occupy. Israel wasn't able to achieve its goals. Israel wasn't able to bring an end to the resistance. Israel wasn't able to carry out its plan, naturalization, and do what it wanted in Lebanon. Hence, we made a lot of sacrifices. However, we achieved the gains, preventing Israel from achieving its goals. The aggression in September, we confronted it with this battle. The Sayyid of the martyrs of the Ummah, Sayyid Hassan Nasrallah, we sacrificed him, and also Sayyid Hashim Safiuddin, may God have mercy on his soul, and all of the heroic martyrs and the wounded and the different sacrifices which were made. However, the battle ended and the youth, the fighters, were there on the front lines, and they prevented Israel from advancing. So Israel then went to the agreement. So the agreement which was reached regarding the ceasefire between the Lebanese state and the Israeli entity, indirectly, this is a result of the steadfastness of the resistance. Had the resistance not been this resilient, there would not have been an agreement. Were not the resistance, for the resistance, Israel would have continued with its aggression until it achieved its goals. However, this steadfastness and resistance led to this deterrence, which led to this result. This is number one. Number two, Israel doesn't need any excuse to carry out an aggression. How many times do we have to tell you that the Israelis launch aggressions because they have an expansionist agenda? Let's assume they have an excuse, that Hezbollah is fighting it, or that Hezbollah possesses weapons, or that the resistance in Lebanon, all the different factions of resistance scare the settlers. Okay, we made an agreement, the Lebanese state with the Israeli enemy. This indirect agreement which was reached, shouldn't it be an end of the aggression? Usually, this is the result of the agreement. So if there is no longer any excuse for the Israelis, but regardless, over the course of 5 months, ever since the agreement was reached until today, they carry out daily aggressions, so much so that its aggressions have reached more than 2,700, between killings and wounded and demolishing and destruction and uprooting trees and drones in the air, and violations in the air, land and sea in front of the whole world. The whole world today is saying that Hezbollah committed and the Lebanese state also committed to the agreement, and Israel did not. This is in front of the whole world, but Israel is saying no. Israel is saying it's committed to the agreement, but it is trying to address the violations from the other side. This is meaningless. In any case, the whole world is watching and knows what is happening. Hezbollah implemented the agreement completely. The Lebanese state can stand in front of the whole world and say, we committed to the implementation of the agreement completely. However, Israel did not commit. All of the factions of resistance committed, but Israel did not. This aggression is continuing. Let me say it clearly. If you think that Israel wants to launch aggressions to seize control of a small piece of land or to make a small advance or to address the issue of weapons, then you're mistaken. Israel wants to occupy the largest part of Lebanon, the majority of Lebanese territories, to make it part of occupied Palestine and to build settlements on Lebanese territory. And it wants to use Lebanon in order to naturalize the Palestinians, whom it expels from the Israeli entity, from occupied Palestine. This is the Israeli project. Israel tried, my dear, Israel tried in 1982 when it reached Beirut. It remained 18 years occupying. So what is the excuse for this occupation for 18 years? The PLO left in 1982 when the Palestinians left. Why didn't Israel return? Because it wants to implement its project. It established the Lahad army, and it also put together projects to establish a region in southern Lebanon as a step to make it also part of it. Who prevented it? The resistance, the collaboration between the resistance army and people. This is what prevented it. Israel wasn't able, but keep it in mind, Israel is expansionist. It wants Lebanon. It wants to seize control of Lebanon. And here, when Israel speaks about disarming the resistance, it's because it wants to take away Lebanon's strength. When Lebanon no longer possesses any strength and when it becomes weak, Israel can come in at any time, can occupy whatever it wants. We're seeing the experience with the Lebanese state and along with the Lebanese army and the international support. When the Lebanese state complains that Israel is still an aggressor, it's still not implementing the agreement, what's the answer to the Lebanese state? They say, be patient, Israel is afraid, Israel wants you to disarm Hezbollah in Lebanon. Israel wants this, it wants that. Meaning they try to use this to achieve the aims, and the superpowers help it, and the Lebanese state can't do anything. So are you requesting of us in such a position, and we reach a level or a stage whereby Israel can enter into all of Lebanon? No way. No way, this cannot happen. If anyone thinks that we are weak and that we'll accept what they say, they're very mistaken. He who confronted Israel can confront all those who stand behind and stand with Israel. And we don't care, whatever be the results, because we are the owners of the land. We are the owners of the rights, because we committed to our word. And we lived up to what we said. We and the Amal movement and all the resistance factions and the Lebanese state and the Lebanese army. But what did the other side do? If Israel thinks that it will achieve its goals, it's mistaken. As long as the resistance is present, and it will continue to be, along with the patriotic army, which rejects occupation, along with the Lebanese people, who gave and sacrificed and took in and sacrificed via the direct confrontation, in addition to the supporters of the resistance who were present on the ground and defended greatly, and also the state today and the heads of state. They speak directly, rejecting occupation. With all of these capabilities, Israel cannot achieve its goals. Today, we are in the phase of diplomacy. We are giving diplomacy its chance. This chance is not open-ended. One of the foreign ambassadors, I heard, he asked the person responsible for international relations, he asked, is it true that you have open-ended options? Aren't you afraid that Israel might carry out major operations, scare you? Can you deal with Israel? I'll say it. I know what the official said. I'll say it publicly. We have options and we're not afraid of anything. And if you want to try, if you want to continue, and you'll see at the right time, which we decide. Today, we're no longer a group. Please listen, we are a people. We are a nation. We are territory. We are soil, blood, wounded, captives, martyrs. We are people whose heads are hung high. We are a real force. No one can defeat us. Those who can defeat are the ones who are right. We are right, so we defeat. If you see now that Israel is out of control, doing what it wants, and America is giving it what it wants, how long can this continue? How long can it continue to operate in such a manner? Who said that we are going to be patient, whereby it will be able to achieve even some of its goals? Look, why is Israel killing one person, targeting one village, carrying out limited operations? It could have carried out a very large-scale operation. Why? It's also calculating. Don't think this is simple. It's true that we are practicing self-restraint with wisdom because we know the right time. We know that there is a balance in the wins and losses, but we also want you to know we don't base our considerations on the losses and the gains. We base it on the stance. The stance is resistance, liberation, and preventing Israel from achieving its goals. If this happens today, tomorrow, after a certain period, but there is no other choice and there is no surrender at all. Number three, what's the problem today in Lebanon? I'm hearing statements and stances. One person says that our problem in Lebanon is we have to see how we can address the issue of the state, how it's structured. Others say we want to see how we can further enhance national unity. But there are people, unfortunately, there is one particular party and some voices in Lebanon. They always focus and say that the main problem is the arms of the resistance. Now, before, we used to hear that the arms of the resistance are obstructing the state and the building of the state. Isn't that what they used to say? And the problem with the weapons of the resistance is that it's preventing the completion of the state. Who contributed to building the state? Who contributed to electing the President of the Republic? Who contributed to forming the Lebanese government? Who's giving all the facilitations to implement the agreement? This party, which you're saying is obstructing the state, we're not obstructing the state. When they saw that there's resistance, weapons and capabilities and victories, and there are difficulties and sacrifices, the state is growing, then they resorted to something else. They said, no, we want to disarm because the Ta'if agreement stipulates disarmament. It no longer has an impact on building the state. Okay, the constitution says that weapons must be only in the hands of the state, and we're saying also the weapons only in the hands of the state. But what kind of weapons? Weapons that protect the civilians, civil peace. But the resistance, its weapons are exclusively linked to confronting the Israeli enemy. These weapons have nothing to do with the domestic situation. Anyone who is it that's saying this? Those behind all the sedition in Lebanon, those who are mainly responsible for the civil war and who take responsible, those who did in Lebanon something which was unbearable, unimaginable to people who live together. Unfortunately, we must be clear. The main problem is not the weapons of the resistance. The main problem in Lebanon is the expulsion of the Israeli occupation. Show us your statements and your stances regarding the expulsion of Israeli occupation. Adopt the same tone as the Lebanese state and the Lebanese president and the officials when they say they want to expel the Israeli occupation. Speak the same tone as the civilians and the resistance when they speak about expelling the Israeli occupation. We're not hearing anything. It seems you're comfortable with the Israeli occupation. That's not good for you. It goes against you. Don't think that this will give you a momentum and it'll be something good for your future. Not at all. Those who confront the Israeli occupation today and say no to it, they are the most honorable, great and dignified people. And this will go down in history. And this will be a white page, a shining star. We confront with the strength of the stance, with national unity, with the building of the state, with the strength of the army, with the readiness of the resistance. We confront the occupation with all of these elements, and we shall continue. We don't surrender, and we will not surrender. Nobody should think we are weak, not at all. We did not respond to the contempt and the hatred that serves the Israeli project, which emerged in Lebanon from some circles. We're not afraid also of the threats being made by America or Israel or those who stand with them. We are people up for the confrontation. We are the people of dignity and honor for the land and for the people. The Almighty said in His holy book, in the Holy Quran, when the believers saw the parties, they said, this is what God and His Messenger promised us. And what they said indeed will happen. We were promised that the people will confront us, and this only increased them in faith and submitting to the will of God. He also said, do not feel any sorrow, and you have the upper hand if you are believers. They don't understand what these verses mean, nor do they understand how much these verses have an impact on us. And they don't also understand our relationship with God Almighty and how strong we are. Number 4, a lot is being said in the media, a lot of political statements regarding making the weapons of resistance a certain issue which serves Israel. Some said that the arms of resistance are an obstruction to the building of the state, and the state must take these arms away by force if the resistance fighters don't hand these weapons over. Do you know what it means to disarm the resistance by force? First, you're giving Israel a favor free of charge. It brought all of its armies, all of its capabilities. It mobilized America and Europe behind it, and it wasn't able to take one piece of weaponry, not to disarm one piece. So today, you're calling for the disarmament by force. This is a favor for the Israeli enemy, number 1. Number 2, this is sedition. You want this sedition between the resistance and army because you're calling on the state. So you, the army, go and fight the party. So we're collaborating with the army. We're both in the same ditch against Israel. You want to divide us, separate us into 2 ditches and fight each other, and you say you want to build the state and the nation? This is sedition. It won't happen. Number 3, by doing this, they consider that they will control the state under American auspices. Why? Because there will no longer be any strong party opposing them, and hence they will control the building of the state. This party couldn't put up with those who wanted change because they wanted to be independent, and now they're launching a very severe campaign. Are you going to protect the strength possessed by the Shia duo, the resistance, and the other allied groups and the political factions, the main political factions from different? No, they won't tolerate. So they say to themselves, let's get rid of these people and the resistance, and then the American auspices can control the country, or will control the country under American auspices. So disarming aims to achieve these 3 goals, but no way you won't be able to do Israel a favor, and the day will come whereby Israel is going to slap you in the face and say you weren't able to do anything, and you're not going to create a sedition between us and the Lebanese army. These are our beloved, and they are pursuing the same project. You won't be able to seize control of the state. Whatever you may say, however much you must scream out, because it's known how much influence you have, and your approach is not patriotic. We won't allow anyone to disarm Hezbollah, nor to take away the weapons of the resistance, because Hezbollah is a resistance. The idea of disarmament, you have to forget about it. We won't allow anyone to disarm the resistance. These arms are a pillar for the resistance. These weapons gave life and freedom to our people. These weapons are what liberated our nation and protected its sovereignty. These weapons are the weapons of the blood of the martyrs and the wounded and the captives, and they fought so that the nation would be honorable. We will confront those who launch an aggression against the resistance and those who strive to disarm according to the expressions they use, just like we confronted Israel, whether it be Israel or America or anyone affiliated. But be careful. This phase must be the phase of confronting Israel. Nobody should play this game with us. And I think, thank God, the domestic situation in Lebanon is good regarding the state, the army, the political factions. Nobody is talking about taking the weapons away.